So there's something a bit different with Cambridge in its application process, in that there's kind of two forms of personal statement. There's the UCAS personal statement that we've been talking about so far, and then there's also the My Cambridge application. So could you explain for the viewers who don't know what the My Cambridge application is, what it is, when the deadlines are to hand it in? Does everyone have to do the MyCap?
Yeah, absolutely. So when people submit their UCAS application, and the deadline for that is October the 15th for Cambridge and also Oxford.
I don't think there is a MyCap for Oxford.
No, absolutely. But so the UCAS, the UCAS form has to be filled in by October the 15th, and then a week after that for Cambridge alone. People have to fill in an additional online form, My Cambridge application. And it just gives us a little bit of additional information, things that we can't get from just the UCAS application itself. And one of the additional bits of information we can get from it is a second personal statement. It's an optional personal statement. So for the majority of people who apply, I would say, they probably don't need to write a separate Cambridge-specific personal statement. So if someone's applying to Cambridge for history, just to take that example, their UCAS application will have a personal statement, which I assume will be focused on history. I'm assuming that they'd probably be applying for history at the other universities they're interested in studying at. So the UCAS personal statement would be absolutely fine for us here at Cambridge. However, there are some subjects at Cambridge that are just a bit different from subjects that you can study at other universities. So for instance, if people are interested in, say, physics, then they'll almost certainly be applying to study physics specifically at most of the universities they're applying to. You can't come to Cambridge just to study physics in isolation. You come here to study natural sciences, and then you end up following the physics route through that course. So you end up specializing in physics, but you don't start by studying a course called physics. For subjects like that, it's really helpful if people do fill in the optional personal statement on the My Cambridge application form, because it can be as Cambridge specific as they like. So that's where they can say, I'm really interested in the natural sciences course because it will enable me to do X, Y, and Z, and because I'm interested in, I don't know, these theories or these scientific techniques, it will give me a chance to really study those in more detail. So, for subjects like that, it's really helpful if people do fill in the second personal statement. But it is optional, because we appreciate people have to fill in a lot of forms and things, and it's always a bit of a drag, but it can be helpful.
So with the My Cambridge application, if you didn't want to write another personal statement, for the example where you're applying for history across all of the universities, including Cambridge, and you just felt like you didn't need to write another one, what would you have to write anything in the My Cambridge?
You can just leave it blank. I mean, sometimes people cut and paste their UCAS personal statement, but again, that just means we read the same thing twice. So there's no need for us to do that. So if you feel that the UCAS personal statement tells us everything that you want us to know about your interest in the subject, then it's fine not to submit the second one. But if you feel that the UCAS personal statement is sort of pointing in a particular direction, like the physics example I mentioned earlier, but you want to say a little bit more about why you think you're well suited to the Cambridge course specifically, that's when it's a good opportunity just to tell us a few more things that are very Cambridge specific.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend to anyone listening that if you're applying for like physics across all the universities, but applying for natural sciences for Cambridge, because as you said, we don't offer physics on its own, then you should definitely talk about why.
And it's not just natural sciences. So, I mean, a subject like land economy, which is a subject that we offer here at Cambridge, but you can't really study it anywhere else. people might be taking A-levels in things like law, in geography, in economics, and they may be applying to study, say, economics at all the other universities they're applying to. So their UCAS personal statement will be, and it should be, kind of fully focused on economics. That's great. We'll see that. That's all useful for us. But then they may choose to fill in the optional second personal statement on the My Cambridge application form, because that's where they can say, I'm really interested in the land economy course for these reasons. And it can be Cambridge specific. We're the only people that will see it. And it will give us just a bit more insight into why they might be a really good fit for that course. So those kinds of examples are ones where the second personal statement can be really helpful.
I also think, it seems like if you have an opportunity to write a second personal statement, and assuming the student has the time, the time to write, and I'd like to write more words and why they would want to do that course in Cambridge. I think it seems like a waste to send it in blank. I think would there be any merit for, let's say, going back to the history applicant? Could they specify on their My Cambridge application, looking at the course online and the course content, listing out and explaining specific reasons why they would like studying the history course that's taught at Cambridge?
Yep, they could do that, and many people do. They see it as an opportunity to indicate what attracts them about the Cambridge course, and that might be the sorts of topics they get to study in the first year of the course, or the second year, or the progression through it. They may even at that early stage have some early idea of what they think they'll want to specialize in as they go through the course. I mean, in reality, that often changes, and when people come here and start studying, they develop new interests, and so they go in different directions. But it doesn't do any harm to reassure the people assessing your application that you understand the content and structure of the course, because again, we're looking to make sure that the people to whom we make offers are a good fit for the courses that we offer here. And so, any evidence that someone's really looked closely and carefully at the course content and structure is very reassuring.
Because now thinking it through, most if not all of the courses at Cambridge do have, there's a lot of thought that's gone through into the course, and they kind of have their own identity, and which might slightly differ from elsewhere. If you're applying for philosophy at Cambridge and philosophy elsewhere, there might be specific reasons why you like the philosophy course in Cambridge. Similarly, with English, you might really like the practical criticism aspect. So there definitely is a lot of opportunity to look into the course and talk about that in the MyCap.
Well, the philosophy example is a good one to pick, because the Cambridge philosophy course requires people to study logic. It's a compulsory part of the first year, and it's also present in the second year. And it's possible to study philosophy at many other universities, and logic isn't compulsory. It might be optional, but it's not compulsory. So that's one of the distinctive things about Cambridge. If you come here, you have to study formal logic as part of the course. So again, in the UCAS personal statement, if someone's applying for philosophy, they might not mention an interest in logic in their UCAS personal statement, because it won't be particularly relevant, perhaps, to other universities they're applying to. If they choose to submit the My Cambridge application with the second personal statement, they can say, one of the things that appeals to me about the Cambridge course is the opportunity it gives to study formal logic. I'm really interested in these things, and they can talk about that in more detail. That's a good example of how it can be helpful.